With sequestration cuts to hit in 3 days, President Obama meeting with the governors from all across the country over the last couple of days. North Carolina Governor Pat McCrory was there and spoke to the commander-in-chief himself, and more importantly, joins us this morning. Governor, thanks so much for getting up with us, first off.
Thank you.
And I saw, you did have, when they kicked the press out, you got to ask a question of the president directly that affects the people in North Carolina and Virginia about drilling. What did you ask?
I asked the president whether or not he had helped Governor McDonald and Governor Nikki Haley and myself in North Carolina to begin offshore exploration for oil and gas. And I got a political speech and no commitment to it whatsoever. And this was at the exact same time that they laid down in front of us. The media had already gotten all the so-called devastating cuts that are going to be given to each of our states due to sequestration. So at a time when the governors of Virginia, North Carolina, and South Carolina are trying to grow the economy and become more energy independent, there was absolutely no sense of urgency to give us the permitting process, or at least begin that process, for offshore exploration.
Governor, this is unbelievable.
A lot of mixed signals.
I filled up a gas last night. It's almost $4 here for 89 octane, and yet you can't drill off the shore that would provide jobs as well.
Yeah, we're getting a lot of mixed signals from Washington and the White House right now. I mean, listen, the president and the first lady were so gracious to us on Oscar night with a black tie dinner and a wonderful meal and a military band. And then in the very next day in the West Room, we were given information about the devastating cuts of sequestration, which we're now just reading and trying to analyze for each of our own states and make adjustments. I'm going to be in about a 3-hour meeting today on my own budget, and now I've got to figure out how to incorporate this information and to see actually how accurate it is.
Right.
But I'd rather build the economy and get into the energy business in North Carolina.
I tell you, I got to bring you to a story in North Carolina from your local newspaper. Actually found out about this. A liberal group out there, not just to get their point across, but to actually go after you, hiring private investigators to go after you, the governor, and other leading Republican lawmakers. Here's an example. The goal was to cripple their leaders, like you, eviscerate leadership, and weaken their ability to govern, like you, and pressure McCrory, who is you, at every public event. How do you feel about this attack plan becoming public?
It's shameful. At a time when I'm trying to convince young people to get involved in public service, it is a time when I'm trying to bring together Republicans and Democrats and independents to solve these very complex issues. You know, I've got some nonprofit groups who aren't supposed to be engaged in political activity funding these groups to eviscerate me. And the worst part is even talking about hiring private investigators. It's shameful politics, and it's got to end. And I hope the media asks who these groups are and what their other plans are, because it's exactly what we don't need in politics today.
Well, when you talk about personal attacks and tarring someone's background and maybe misrepresenting it, that really is what happened to Mitt Romney last spring, and he never got out from under it.
They're attempting to brand politicians. I've only been in office for 6 weeks, and they're already trying to brand me in a very, very negative attacks and very well coordinated attacks through the media, through the blogs, through the internet, and it's very discouraging to see, and I ask them to end it. And I ask those groups that are funding these types of groups to quit doing it too. It's even close to breaking the law, because some of the funding groups aren't supposed to be involved in political activity. But the evisceration, right. I saw enough of that during my gubernatorial campaign. I was hoping it would slow down once I was sworn in as governor.
Hopefully exposing it will end it. Governor McCrory, thanks so much. It'll be very interesting next few days.
Thank you very much. Appreciate
Hopefully
it.
You'll get your drilling contracts. Meanwhile,